Radical Islam is a threat. Do you agree or disagree? After the Brussels attacks, after the attacks in Brussels, after the Paris shootings, after the shootings in Paris, after the shooting in San Bernardino, after the shooting at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida, after 9/11, and just recently after the attacks in Nice, France. Do you think that radical Islam is a threat? I have to ask this, what I feel is a pretty obvious and simple question. Because when I say, either when I post on the White House Facebook page as to will you acknowledge that radical Islam is a threat? Will the White House acknowledge that radical Islam is a threat to Western civilization? And people reply with, so giving it a name will solve the problem. Some stupid words like that. Some stupid commentary like that. Could you imagine if you went to the doctor, right? You're in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, because most of your family have died in that age range from cancer, from brain tumors, let's say. So you go for your checkup, and the doctor does all these tests on you, and he says, you know what, guy, your health is not good. And you ask for specifics. Well, what's the problem? High blood pressure, diabetes, is it cancer? It's like, you're just not doing good, but just go home, you'll be okay. To me, that's the health of Western civilization, whether it's Europe or North America. I didn't lose anyone on 9/11. I didn't lose anyone at the Pulse nightclub. I didn't lose anyone in Nice, in Paris, nor Brussels, nor San Bernardino. But that doesn't make the deaths of those people any less tragic for me. It doesn't make it simply simply a fart in the wind, like many politicians are making it out to be. They don't want to critique Islam because it's going to hurt their votes next year because they're racist. Even though I don't know what race Muslims are. I didn't know that they were a race. I definitely gotta read up on that. And it's a bit annoying to keep on talking about the subject, and when I left the Marine Corps, when I served honorably, I figured that I would still fight enemies, both foreign and domestic. And our biggest enemy here in America is ignorance. ignorance. It's cool that we learn about our U.S. history, American history, and some European history. I also think it's important to learn about the history of Islam, just to see what inspired them to fight wars in the past. To understand your enemy. And that's a pretty harsh, because I don't believe that because you're born in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, or other Muslim countries, that you're born being my enemy. It's the culture that worships a book that was written by a supposed prophet. A prophet named Muhammad, who raped a 9-year-old girl. And when that book is taught over and over to kill the infidel, I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem with you if you want to kill the infidels. But what can a civilian do? If you're in the Marine Corps, you're waiting for your general to get the green light from the president to give you orders to go overseas and hit their one of their intel points to kill their commander somewhere overseas. But as a civilian, what can we do, which is the majority of us? What can we do? I'm asking myself that question because I'm a civilian now. I no longer have an M16A2 service rifle. No longer wearing Kevlar, no longer training close combat. Building combat, guerrilla, learning, studying guerrilla tactics. So what can I do out here? I think at the start I could speak up on it with my artwork. I do want to bring up the conversation. What's going on here? Just like I brought up the conversation of the corruption in with the Vatican, with some of my artwork, sexual Catholic artwork. At the time with the untouchable priest and clergy that were above the law. But now with Islam gaining so much attention and momentum, attempting to show us who's boss in their world. I will draw my perspective of them, of their prophet, of their Allah, share these beliefs with other business owners. Putting up artwork at different locations. It's only going to be a matter of time before I hit so many spots with my artwork or post up my artwork that I will get knocked down, criticized, or a lawsuit for it. And let's see, we'll see how that works out. But we should, no, without a doubt, discuss it. Without a doubt. Discuss this obvious threat. Think about who you're voting for, too. Hillary wants to bring in more of these, what I will consider ticking time bombs. Let's bring in more Muslim refugees by the thousands. In Paris, it was just one idiot who did this. Probably I shouldn't even call him an idiot because he at least took some brains to think out about what he wants to do. So call him a piece of shit. How about that? Can you imagine what 1,000 of those guys could do here in the US? And I don't want to live in a country where we gotta be like, hey, bring in all these Muslims, and then now we gotta watch our back when we sit down at a cafe. I'm not gonna have dinner at a restaurant that has a long street that heads up to it. So a car could possibly, or a truck filled with explosives and weapons come and attack us. No. Simply discuss it. Bring it up during conversations when you can. And I know that there's a fine line between being preaching about this stuff at a corner with a megaphone and another one where we talk about simply, how's your day going? How's life? How do you do? And your reply could be, it's like, man, it's I'm a little concerned. On one hand, you want to vote for this person or that person, but with these radical Islam being an actual thing that wants me dead, I wonder who would minimize that, such a scenario. Yeah, so that's on my mind. That's how my day's going, that thought. That's my name on Facebook and DeviantArt if you want to add me or follow me.